Charlton Speedway Complex in Toowoomba, Queensland for the penultimate round of the 95-96 World Sprint Car Series Championship. Front row, all USA, Queenslanders on the second row. Third row, Lee Home from Queensland and New South Welshman Peter Murphy.
You'll probably notice that Brent Kading is coming out of grid position 17. Here's the reason why. An altercation a little earlier in the evening with Robin Dawkins, Steve Mortimer and Dean McComb. Thankfully, though, his crew have repaired the car and he's on the grid and ready for racing.
Well, it's certainly amazing how quick teams can bandy together and get cars back out on the circuit. They're on their warm-up lap now. Green light's just about ready to go. We're set for 30 laps of action in the second last round of the 95-96 Sprint Car Championship. On the outside of the front row, Greg Hodnett looked like he got a pretty good start. No, it wasn't. It was Danny Smith. Either way, it was a USA driver. Greg Rust in trawling action, set for 30 laps.
Certainly is even further back in the pack land, so some good dice is going on, though. Hodnett, the man with all the work to do at this point in time. Smith has really shown some good form throughout the evening in some of the earlier heats, as has Peter Murphy. He's based in Brisbane, but he is a New South Welshman, a former compact speed car champion, and one to watch out for.
Well, you can see that there's plenty of wind and breeze out there on the track at the moment. The beautifully prepared Charlton Speedway Complex in Toowoomba, and they're hosting this second last round on a track that's a little bit tighter than what the cars have been used to in the previous rounds. But our race leader, Danny Smith from the USA, doing it out there quite comfortably at this stage. A little bit of pressure being applied by fellow USA driver Greg Hodnett back in second place, but I don't think that's going to worry him as the cars stream through in a class field.
USA 1, 2 and 3 out on the circuit at the moment. Joey Saldana, the very talented 23-year-old, is in third place at the moment. Comes from Brownsburg, Indiana in the USA, and he's driving a 1994 Stealth chassis, sponsored of course by Truck Traders and Lee Williams. So good to see him doing well at the moment.
Well, our race leader under a bit of pressure at the moment, Danny Smith. Greg Hodnett coming right up, looming on the rear wheels and putting on a real good show for the crowd. An excellent crowd here tonight at Toowoomba, and it's good to see that they're blessed with good skies and good weather indeed. Race leader on screen now, Danny Smith, under a bit of pressure from Greg Hodnett. Hodnett is doing a great job back there in second place as I speak. Our race leader Smith seems to kick away a little bit, so it's a fairly even tussle up front at the moment, Greg.
Car number 21 from Queensland, Dean McComb, starting to come in and play in this lot. You'll see him there in fourth place, and he just promoted himself into third. Saldana ran wide as they came onto the front straight. That has really given McComb a good turn of speed. Saldana falling back through the pack. You can see him there. He's now fallen back to fifth place. He won't be happy about that.
He certainly won't, and a lot of the drivers have got a fair amount of adjusting to do on the much tighter circuit. I mentioned in our opening session just before the start of this race how tight it is compared to some of the circuits, most of the circuits that the drivers have driven on in this series. And we've alluded to in the past about the drivers getting caught on the outside, the high line on each of the corners. If they're not careful, they may find themselves scraping the walls. Talking
about scraping the walls, Lance, car number 11 there, Robin Dawkins, just manages to get out of the way of our leader Smith. His car pushing quite substantially as it came onto the back straight. Obviously something wrong with that car, possibly not handling as well as it should. He was of course caught up in the melee with the USA driver Brent Kading a little earlier in the evening. So good to see him back out there, but not handling as well as he'd like.
Well, the Taswegian has been involved in a couple of incidents throughout the entire series, and he has had troubles with his car in setting it up, especially on a tight circuit like this. It certainly is a masterful effort for the team to be able to get the car to dial in nice and early and keep stable. You can notice occasionally you'll see a lot of air under the front wheels of some of the cars, but not so for our race leader. Smith now negotiating some slower traffic, already lapping the slower drivers, and it won't be long, and I'd suggest he'll probably lap a couple of these twice tonight.
Talking of one of the cars that's going to be lapped, Lance, the FAI machine, car number 28, driven by Barry Lawrence, is just about to get past. Not so at that particular point in time. Smith still showing a good turn of speed.
Well, Lawrence kicked away a little bit in front of our race leader Smith there at the moment. Now Smith is going to overtake him very shortly. I'd suggest, yes indeed, Lawrence goes a little bit too wide. That opens the door up for one, now two Americans. Up the inside they go, and they're into the slower traffic already.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how they go negotiating some of that lap traffic, but they've got no lack of talent. Danny Smith, your leader at present, has come here many times to Australia during the USA off-season, but his compatriots are showing equally level heads on very young shoulders indeed. Saldana is just 23 years of age, the son of the 1970 Knoxville champion Joe Saldana. Young Joey has had a tremendous season in 1995 in the USA, in fact taking out Rookie of the Year.
And of course, America is the birthplace of this great sport known as sprint car racing on the oval circuits, and now it's been down in Australia for quite a number of years, and it's great to see that the Americans are down here enjoying their off-season. The Americans, Greg, certainly enjoy the activities and the attention that the Australian crowd show them, especially our race leader at the moment, Danny Smith. After each meeting in this entire series of the World Series Sprint Car Championship throughout 95-96, each of the Americans have made sure that they've had plenty of time to sign autographs and greet and meet the crowds.
Smith now seems to have pulled away from the driver sitting back in second place. That, of course, is Hodnett. So doing a good job at this stage. Tell you what does look good, and that is the condition of the circuit here at Toowoomba. Very well prepared indeed, and holding up extremely well throughout the course of this 30-lap feature.
Well, a lot of traffic now coming into the fore, and a lot of drivers are starting to negotiate this turn number 2 on this circuit. As I've mentioned before, a very tight circuit, a little bit rough on the exit of turn number 2, but I don't think that should bring anybody undone. Well, it wasn't turn 2 that brought somebody undone, but it looks like 2 drivers there. Both Queenslanders, Dean McCom in car number 21 and Steve Mortimer in car number 6. Officials just checking to see that they're okay, and now we're back underway with a restart.
Restart, of course, Lance, single file this stage in proceedings. So Smith manages to get the power down very nicely. Soldana, though, who was in second place, ran a little bit wide. That may hurt him. They come down the front straight here at Toowoomba. I tell you what, Smith has really got a good turn of speed out of his car. Look already at the gap that he's pulled out. Oh, can you believe this? We've had another altercation. It is McCom from Queensland again. He was involved in that one just a few moments ago, and Brent Keating from the USA. So he'll take no further part in this one.
And of course, on the extreme outside, Barry Lawrence, who was involved in some mayhem earlier on in the first of the cars to be actually lapped. Now underway again with not too many laps to go. Our race leader, the American Danny Smith, leads them with a clean set of hands and heels in that machine. Plenty of horsepower and plenty of grunt being put down around this circuit.
USA again 1, 2 and 3 out on the circuit. Your leader is Danny Smith from Joey Soldana. In third place it is Hodnett. We go a gap further back. I think that may be the talented young New South Wales driver Peter Murphy sitting back there in fourth. We'll keep an eye on that one for you.
Well, in another hard charger, of course, is Nathan McDonald, who's come up from the rear of the ranks at this one. But look at the pressure that's being put on our race leader now, Danny Smith, by fellow American Soldana. Neither is asking nor are they giving any quarter from their fellow countrymen.
See if Soldana can bridge the gap between himself and Smith towards the close of this one. Joey Soldana, a very talented driver indeed. He's got 31 career All-Star A features to his credit, and he's right up there amongst the likes of Dave Blaney, Kevin Huntley, Steve Kinser, and of course Doug Wolfgang.
In the meantime, though, our race leader Smith, of course, has been the bridesmaid a couple of times throughout this World Series Sprint Car Championship in 95-96. Will this be his night to be the bride? Only time will tell, but he's going to have to take the challenges that are being thrown at him very, very closely indeed by Joey Soldana back in second placing. Not too many more laps to go now, and Soldana is really applying the pressure. Down the main straight they go, into turns 1 and 2. Look at the ground that Soldana makes up on Smith with not too much to go.
Certainly not, Lance. Down to the business end of proceedings. Have a look at this. Soldana really applying the pressure now. I, in fact, think he gave a bit of a touch to Danny Smith. Smith subsequently pops a nice wheel stand. There they go. They touch wheels again. This is brilliant driving from 2 very determined competitors indeed.
Well, onto the main straight they come. They grit the 1 lap to go flag. Not too much to go now. Will Soldana be able to do it, or will it be Smith that gets his first victory in the championship? All 4 wheels on both cars, rocking and rolling left and right. Into the last turn they go. Checkered flag on display with Soldana all over the rear of Smith. But Smith gets his first victory in this series. Soldana in second place, and a great third place, very deserved third placing to Nathan McDonald.
Well, the stage is set for an absolutely electric series grand final from Archerfield in Brisbane. We'll be bringing you that next week. On behalf of the Speed Week team and Penrite, we thank you for your company, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Speed.